Aren't we having fun with the Bears head coaching search? Yeah! Interviewing every candidate and their frickin' mom almost like they don't really know what the hell they're looking for. Gee, imagine that. Sounds an awful lot like Bears football, doesn't it? Pretty much. But hey, we're probably just at the surface level of this process, and it's going to go a few more weeks more likely than not. So we've just got to buckle up and hope we can live with the end result. This is such a critical head coaching hire. Hope to God, Allah, Buddha, Confucius, whoever the hell I need to hope to, that the Bears get this one right. But you'll forgive me if my confidence in that happening isn't very high. Now, what I find striking and interesting here is that as there's been talk about different candidates and different possibilities, one of the things, and there's many things that stand out, so it's just this one like really stands out to me, is how many Bears fans would be happy with, push for, celebrate if the Bears, let's say, made a trade to bring in Mike Tomlin to be their head coach, or if Mike Tomlin somehow parted ways with the Steelers, Bears fans would be jumping over themselves, falling over themselves to bring Mike Tomlin into the fold. Meanwhile, you find out the news earlier this week that Mike McCarthy and the Dallas Cowboys do not come to terms on a new contract, therefore meaning Mike McCarthy won't return as the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, and he's free to negotiate elsewhere. And a lot of Bears fans are expressing reservations, hesitations, lack of excitement about this possibility. Which I can get the second one. It's the first one that blows my ever fucking mind. It just does. Because when you look at the resumes and you look at the history, as much as you can't say two guys are the exact same or two coaches are the exact same, there are enough similarities there to basically say that Mike McCarthy is the white offensive version of Mike Tomlin or vice versa. Like, what the hell are we talking about here? Why would so many be so happy about a Mike Tomlin, but so many would be so disappointed or upset about the hiring of a Mike McCarthy? Now, I want to make this very clear. I am not pounding the table for or advocating for either of these guys to be the Chicago. It's not going to happen. All I'm pointing to is it's really nonsensical to me and flat out kind of stupid for Coach A, Mike Tomlin, his love and respect and admiration and want him to come there because he's going to build. But Mike McCarthy gets none of that. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Look at their resumes and you'll see how strikingly similar. Mike Tomlin's been the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers now for 18 seasons. His career regular season record, he's got a .630 winning percentage, which is really good, right? He's 183, 107, and 2. It's that combined with some other things that lead you to believe that someday Mike Tomlin will be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton. And I don't disagree with that. I don't dispute that. I'm pretty confident that he will. In part because he's never had a losing season, a below 500 season with the Pittsburgh Steelers. In his 18 years at the helm in Pittsburgh, 11 seasons of 10-plus wins, 5 seasons of 12-plus wins, 7 AFC North titles, 2 AFC championships, a Super Bowl title. Those are the things that will lead to Mike Tomlin being inducted into Canton someday. But he's also got an 8-11 career playoff record, and his last playoff win came in 2016. And you've seen since then, pretty much every single time Mike Tomlin's teams play in the playoffs, that defense absolutely shits the bed in the last several performances, most notably, or most recently, I should say, the wild card game against the Ravens. Mike Tomlin's defenses get destroyed. Like, they totally shit the bed. I just don't get it. Like, why would you want them? Oh, they make the playoffs. So what? When was the last time you actually thought about the Steelers being a legitimate Super Bowl contender? It's probably back maybe like 2017 when they lost at home in the divisional round to the Jacksonville Jaguars 45-42. They let Blake Bortles come into Pittsburgh and push their shit in. That's a fact. How terrible is that? And you look at Tomlin's resume, he's had 10 times where his defenses have been top 10 in fewest yards allowed. 12 times they've been top 10 in fewest points allowed. But it is worth noting when you go back between like 2017 to 2014, that's when Dick LeBeau was the defensive coordinator. He was in charge of the defense. He was the shot caller on defense. The best run of the Steelers' defenses under Mike Tomlin happened when Dick LeBeau was the defensive coordinator. That's not an opinion. That's a statistical fact. You look at that and you say, okay, the playoff losses in recent years have been pretty bad, but they're still a pretty good resume overall. I agree. But how is this so fucking different from Mike McCarthy? Because let's look at him. He's had 18 seasons now as an NFL head coach, split between the Packers for the majority of his time and the past 5 seasons with Dallas. His career record, 608 winning percentage, so a little bit lower than Tomlin's, but 174, 112, and 2. Like, they even have the same number of ties in their coaching career. He's got 11 seasons of 10-plus wins, 6 seasons of 12-plus wins. So same number of 10-plus win seasons. McCarthy's got one more season with 12-plus wins. And that's between both the Packers and the Cowboys combined. So he's done that in 2 different places where Tomlin's done it with one organization. McCarthy's technically won more division titles in his 18 seasons being an NFL head coach, 6 NFC North titles, 2 NFC East ones. He won an NFC championship and a Super Bowl title in 2010 when the Packers were the 6th seed and had to go 3 straight games on the road as a wild card team. And guess who he beat in the Super Bowl? Fucking Mike Tomlin. He's actually got a little bit of a better career playoff record, 11-11, and his last playoff win is more recent. That came in the 2022 season. His offenses under Mike McCarthy, where he's been the guy in charge of the offenses, 11 times they've been top 10 in total yardage, 12 times top 10 in points scored. Like, you could look a little bit here and a little bit there on both sides of the spectrum here. But at the end of the day, when you kind of amalgamate the resumes, what is so fundamentally fucking different about Tomlin versus McCarthy? Now, maybe you like Mike Tomlin's charisma and his approach and his kind of a McCarthy. You look at him and you say, like, type of presence to him. A party that's spouting at their, like, he's spouting the wild conspiracy theories type of shit and taking you down deep rabbit holes and blah, 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 blah. Maybe. But what's so fundamentally fucking different between these two? Seriously. Like, what the fuck is it? Because when it comes down to what matters most, which are the fucking results, they are basically the same damn NFL head coach. And what's astounding to me is when you compare Tomlin to McCarthy, Mike Tomlin will end up with a gold bust in Canton someday. He will be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Mike McCarthy has no fucking chance. None. The only way Mike McCarthy would have a chance is he would have to win another Super Bowl with another team and do something that nobody in NFL history has done, win a Super Bowl as a head coach with 2 different teams. Others made the Super Bowl being the head coach of 2 different teams, but whole different matter entirely, right? That's crazy to me. They basically have the same fucking resume. And shit, McCarthy's technically been a little bit better in the playoffs. And the one time these guys played in the playoffs, Mike McCarthy's offense won. And you can talk about Aaron Rodgers and this, that, and the third. But if we really want to go there, McCarthy, as a quarterback coach, offensive coordinator, has a long history of helping quarterbacks develop and playing at their best, whether that's Aaron Brooks in the early 2000s in New Orleans as a quarterback coach. You could sit there and say, well, 2005 is the offensive coordinator in San Francisco. That didn't go well with Alex Smith. Okay, I grant you. But he goes to Green Bay and Favre has a late career resurgence in 2006, especially in 2007. He was there for Aaron Rodgers' early career development. Like you can talk about, well, Aaron Rodgers make Mike McCarthy. Well, shit, you can look at that and say that goes the other way. How much did Mike McCarthy help make Aaron fucking Rodgers? And then Mike McCarthy goes to freaking Dallas, and Dak Prescott has some really good seasons. So give me a fucking break here. This dichotomy in the perception between these two guys is astounding. It's stupid. It shouldn't fucking exist. If Mike McCarthy's not a Hall of Famer, then neither should be Mike Tomlin. And yet that's not the way this shit's going to play out, and we all goddamn good and well know it. So what the hell is it? Which then begs the question to me, why the fuck would Bears fans be so excited at the thought of a Mike Tomlin, but so disappointed at the thought of a Mike McCarthy? At the end of the day, I would think you would be more excited about the guy with 2 decades of resume behind him that points to the fact that he's pretty good at working with quarterbacks. And last time I checked, who's the priority here? What's the priority for the Chicago Bears? Ding dong, dumb dicks. It's not the fucking defense. It's the development and career growth and trajectory of Caleb fucking Williams. Well, who do you have faith in being better at that? And if you say Mike Tomlin, you're a fucking loon. Mike Tomlin found a way. All the excuses you're going to hear about this, that, and the third, or his quarterbacks and his offenses. When he had peak Big Ben, peak Antonio Brown, peak Le'Veon Bell, they were fucking up and getting destroyed in the goddamn playoffs. What the hell are we even talking about here? They lost to Blake Bortles and the Jets at home in the divisional round. And what's also crazy to me is so many of the yay Mike Tomlin guys will be the same kind of Fields cultists that will talk about, well, Justin Fields is him and da-da-da-da-da. Yet it was Mike Tomlin who, while starting off the year with Justin Fields, only waited a few games to then bench Justin Fields, and even in the playoffs, when it was clear that that offense needed a jolt, he refused to throw in Justin Fields. He stayed and tried to let Russell simmer or cook or whatever the hell you want to call it. And that's the guy you would want? His history of hiring offensive coordinators is not great versus Mike McCarthy is his own kind of offensive coordinator, right? Like, how is this even a conversation? And again, I want to be very clear. I am not pounding the table for or advocating for the Chicago Bears to hire Mike McCarthy. Because if you point to the reason you wouldn't want him is he's already in his 60s. This would be his 3rd NFL head coaching job. And the only guy in NFL history to win a Super Bowl in his 3rd NFL stop is Pete Carroll. It's a valid point. It's a valid concern. You say to yourself, would Mike McCarthy just be the offensive version of John Fox and be a massive mistake? Probably. Mike Tomlin, if he's fired or was released from his contract, whatever, other teams would be lining up to hire him. That's absolutely true. But that doesn't mean that he's the right guy for the Bears. So yeah, it's been this way to me for years, like why Mike Tomlin is perceived one way and Mike McCarthy is perceived the other, when they're the defensive, offensive, really equivalents. And at the end of the day, last time I checked, Mike McCarthy beat Mike Tomlin in the fucking Super Bowl. So if you were in a situation where you had the ability to hire either one of these guys, especially if you're the Chicago Bears, and the Chicago Bears' particular situation with the current priorities, why in the fuck would you hire Mike Tomlin over Mike McCarthy? That shit makes no goddamn sense and is the epitome, peak stupidity, Bears football mindset. Let's go hire the fucking defensive guy that hasn't won a championship in 16 fucking years instead of the guy that hasn't won it in 14 years and beat the guy that hasn't won a Super Bowl in 16 fucking years. Shit makes no damn sense. The Bears should want no parts of either guy, but especially Tomlin. Like, Bears fans pounding the table for Tomlin. You're fucking dumb. I'm sorry. No, you know what? I'm not. Because what the bluest of blue fucks are you thinking here? It's insane to me.